Hey everyone, and welcome to the Infinite Respawn podcast. I'm Chicken.
I'm Oak Tree.
I'm Grif.
Bucket.
You
So
okay
was
over
it
there,
too much
chicken?
for you? Was it?
No,
Oh,
I had
so-
to, there's a little bit of sound extra stuff, which you probably can't even hear. I was just checking to see if it was my computer making too much noise.
Oh,
Which is
like, wait a
possible. My
minute.
fans are dying on my big CPU thing. I've got replacements. I've just been too lazy to change them out.
Maybe it's time.
Can't be as bad as one of the smoke alarms at my office. That's pretty loud. Just saying.
I don't know. You get
Sounds
this
like
thing
a fan
spinning up
from a
loud.
PC.
It's like, you just want to throw it out.
Anything
throw it out
that
a
makes
window.
annoying sounds like that, yes, just throw it out.
Anything that makes an annoying noise like that, and you can hear it through headphones, like it's just back there, and you're like,
It's tickling
someone
the
just
back
stop
of my
it.
brain.
someone just stop it.
All
Stop it.
right.
Get some help. Get a replacement.
Where do we want to jump in with the news, and then we can talk about what we have or haven't been playing? Because Chicken and I have been out of town. Oh, you didn't have anything planned, did you?
Mm-mm.
I wasn't the one rushing people. I'm just throwing that out there now.
Fine then. Y'all wanna talk about Sea of Thieves? That's cool. We can talk about that.
We could talk about
Wait,
it.
we have things planned. I thought we just kind of like winged this the whole time.
I mean, we usually do.
Oh yeah, we usually just wing it.
Yep.
Anyway, Sea of Thieves. They came out with that big, huge update, I think a few weeks ago or whatnot, and they've had to pretty much just remove everything from it because it broke the game in every way possible.
I don't know what happened with the QA testing on this, because they do it.
I can tell you what happened with the QA testing on this. First, you don't have as many
It
people
wasn't- it
playing the
didn't
game as
happen.
you did, right?
Yeah.
Secondly, the other part about it is in-house, they have less people working on the game now than they used to have. So it's going to take longer between the two QA tests. But the problem is they're actually trying to release the same schedule they were releasing that before, which you're not going to be able to get.
Oh,
So I love the game. I think it's amazing, and I'm glad that they're putting some of these elements in that people wanted from the beginning. But it's one of those where I understand the fact that it's going to take longer to develop these over time and be able to fully release them. And PvP players are always going to find a way to exploit these, and they found a way to exploit them. Exploit. Yeah, I'm using that term from now on. It's an exploit. That's
One
an
of the exploits was
exploring
apparently
exploit.
an invincibility one too. It wasn't just oh no, they can sneak better or something. It was like, nah, you just can't kill them.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, and they had taken out of the game. There used to be an option to be able to do a quick change on your weapons, and so people would run with a sniper rifle and either a blunderbuss or a pistol, and they would quick shot between the two. So it'd be really quick. You get two shots in, both are very powerful, kill you basically with one shot, even though it's two. And this reintroduced that accidentally based on the way that they designed it. So they, again, PvPers being PvPers, they're going to go, hey, I wonder if this is back yet, because that happens a lot in games, because we'll go, they took this away from us. I wonder if they accidentally brought it back, or they brought it back when they did this and it's just not mentioned, and it did. It brought it back.
Good old spaghetti code.
yeah, it's what happens, especially like when you have, I don't know, let's go generous, 100 QA testers. That's being generous for Sea of Thieves in studio, and they're trying to find all these bugs and things like that. That's nothing compared to the thousands that you get, especially the little heathens that play video games that are always trying to break it or find different things to give themselves an advantage, things like that. But I mean, this patch was apparently very bad. Like a lot of the stuff, but it seems like a lot of it was actually changing the foundation. Like Baka said, the spaghetti code. You're trying to change how the character can interact with the environment, and I'm not sure if they had that ability when they first started making, because crouching to me almost seems like one of those basic things that you should be in the code at the very beginning.
I don't feel like that's causing the problem. I don't think
so either, but I think
the hanging off of ledges and things like that they're trying to introduce are creating a different issue. I don't think crouching, because you're basically making a character go.
You're right, but all you're doing is just changing your character's animation to holding on to something. It's like a
but
ladder just somewhere else.
You also have to create
That
the
is a bit
hitbox
more
for them to be able to grab too.
complicated.
That's right.
That is
That
a
means the
bit
ship
more
did not have a
complicated of an
hitbox.
animation, though.
That's true. But it also means that the ships didn't have proper hitboxes.
Yeah,
So now they've got to redesign the hitbox of all of the ships so that people can grab on wherever, and that's a lot of work too.
Wow, they disabled everything except for the grappling gun and the blow dart that were new additions to the season 14. Like everything else they turned back off. They're like, nah.
Which means crouching was turned back off too.
Yeah, crouching disguises, things like that.
Which
Like,
means everything broke. Oh,
that's
man.
rough. I just see that's why I'm like I don't understand how it didn't get caught in QA is because you mean that nobody that was doing your testing caught any of those massive issues that
How many people were trying it out versus
the patch?
how many people were playing it versus how many people
how many are
many
trying it out, and then a lot of times you're not going to do PvP players traditionally play PvP. That's all they do.
Yeah.
And when you go on to a test server, which I've been on several, when you go on test servers, it is people trying to try the game and all the new elements of the game, not trying to destroy each other and figure out ways to break the game.
But I mean, maybe they should, for their QA purposes, hire some of the PvPers to do some of the QA.
I don't disagree, but I mean, you just let go a lot of people to move into another part of your...
That's true. I don't disagree with that. Like, you downsized it. This is about to happen.
Yeah. So it's like, but you got to move, and they're probably working on the next iteration of this, moving into Sea of Thieves 2 or whatever it is. And so those people are busy and doing whatever, but you need to do something to work on this side of it. The game is 7 years old now. Is that right?
Is it? Oh, that makes me feel old.
6 years, 7 years, something like that.
It's almost like, expecting the same amount of progress and work with less people is just something corporations do.
6.5 years.
6.5 years.
You're not wrong, Baka.
Well, what my work does.
Yeah. That's what a lot of corporate stuff does.
Yeah.
Oh, we've downsized. How come things aren't going as quickly as they used to? Well, you see here.
We used to be able to get this out in a couple of days. Why is it taking like 2 weeks with just 3 of you?
I mean, that's probably the same thing with the testing and patching. It's like, oh, but we need it now. Yeah, but there was 12 of us, and now there's like 6. So hold your horses.
It's gonna take a little longer, I promise.
And the thing is just a little bit of understanding that and then sending it out to the people that are loyal to the game and continue to play. Just turn around and go, hey, just so you're aware, we have a smaller staff than we used to. Our updates, instead of our seasonal stuff coming out on an every 3-month basis, we're going to move to twice a year. So our staff has time to be able to work on it, perfect it, do what needs to be done, blah, blah, blah. Please be patient with us. All the information is because they've always, I got to give Rare props from day one when testing first started. They've been very, very vocal on what they're working on. They've given us their roadmaps. They've done everything they need to move forward. They've heard us. We felt like they were listening to us, with the exception of I think year 2, year 3 when there was a little bit of issue going on. And they continue to work on their product, and I got to give them props for that because a lot of companies are not that transparent, but they've done a really good job with that. And this is one of those elements where I think they might have known a little bit was going to happen, but they didn't realize how much was going to happen once you throw a bunch of people together. They won't try to swap those guns real quick.
One, they will definitely try.
Yeah, they're not going to try that again because it's been broken for. I mean, it's we fixed it so long ago. They're not even going to try. Well, guess what?
I feel like this is also one of the things that now we're this far into lifespans of games as service kind of deal. This is one of those things where we're going to see this more and more often. You have this like really passionate part of the base that's stuck around for years and years and years, and they want the same quality, but because the game is aging, a lot of those companies start scaling down because it's not as full as it used to be. Like player base just isn't there, but there is still a base, and it's a large passionate base. So you see this decline in sometimes in
Profitability?
quality, I guess, but it's because they've downsized. They're not focusing all of their efforts on that because it's not what they're wanting their main to be anymore. It's just one of those things where it ages out. And the downside is the people that are still playing it are the people that care the most about it and will be the most upset by things like this, where they're like, why didn't you quality control it a little better? Why didn't you see that this was going to be a problem? And they're going to be more upset because they take it more seriously, I guess, because they have stuck around with it for so long. It means something to them. Like, I kind of understand it, but at the same time, like, this is definitely one of the drawbacks of games as a service in a game that's, you know, you anticipate having to support for years. Like, you just eventually start running out of steam a little, and your community has not run out of steam sometimes. But
Right.
I think it's interesting to see. I mean, it's not interesting in a good way. It's not like, yay, I hope everybody starts failing, because isn't this a fun experiment? But it is interesting to see games that have been around for a long time, how they start breaking down sometimes. Like, even WoW. Like, WoW has a very specific base these days. And yeah, that base is still there, but it's a smaller base, like a much smaller base, and you can see some of the missteps that they make way easier now.
Yes and no. WoW is such a different beast. We can't compare
It's
much
so
to
weird.
it because
It
its
is.
community comes and goes so regularly. They just leave the door open all the time for people to come and go and come and go.
But I would also argue that, like with WoW, you know, yes, retail's still a thing, but I think it's where they created Classic in order to go, oh, we don't have a 2 yet. We don't have the next iteration of this game. This is going to buy us time. And it did. It bought them a lot of time. Like it's
It bought
able
them
to
enough
do it.
time for them to announce what feels like the final saga. The trilogy of expansions that they have planned seems like it is the final trilogy, so you might be right. Maybe that's what they were doing.
You want to know the really, really weird and ironic part about the whole WoW thing is that when they released WoW Classic, it felt like they released their own prequel, and now the modern one is the sequel, and they basically brought, because WoW retail feels like WoW 2. You play Classic and you're like, wow, this is the original, and what we've already been playing is now the sequel. Instead of them making a WoW 2, they made a WoW 2. They just gave us the original one to play while they
I kinda
modernized
see
the
what you're
original one.
saying.
Because it's so different. Classic is such a classic MMO. It's so different from retail. And then retail is so modernized that it feels
some of the other games that have been persistent like WoW? I mean, like, I can't think.
Destiny.
Final Fantasy
Yeah,
14
Destiny's been around. It's not been around as long as WoW for sure, but it's
No,
definitely.
it was around for 10 years though.
You ain't getting anything that's been around for and as active as WoW.
Ollie
Nothing is around.
said that he felt like Destiny was winding down though, like, because he's one of the handful of people that we know that still has played regularly throughout the lifespan of Destiny. But even he said, I think it was like a couple of months ago, he mentioned that he felt like it was wrapping up, like they were going to be done with it soon.
Well, it's because they're on their 10-year plan. I think they're on year 11 now. Like, this is it.
Yeah.
This is the finale.
And even that one dropped a lot of player base too. Like, again, it's a game that came out strong and dropped down to a very specific player base that has very specific expectations, and is looking way more closely at it because that's their game. Like, that's their main. So.
Yeah, there's nothing you could think of, Baka, that's been around like since WoW times that is still just as dominant in the market anywhere.
EverQuest is still around, but not as dominant.
Yeah, you got a couple of those. I mean, Call of Duty, but it's different reiterations.
RuneScape, they've got that, again, massive fan base. Massive fan base, but I don't think they're as dominant. Nowhere close to as dominant.
No, but they are still alive community wise from the original, because they did the same. They did what WoW did earlier, which was re-release the classic version of RuneScape. You've got the modern version of RuneScape, which is a lot different, and then they brought back the classic version.
RuneScape Classic.
Right.
Yeah. So very, very similar to what WoW did. Like, these big MMOs come out with their original version of the game, and then, you know,
I feel like that's kind of telling too.
Their other ones.
But I think that a lot of them, because Blizzard's done this for so long, I think it's one of those where they're able to scale, and based on the way the game is created, they're able to scale down their staff as needed and bring back more staff as needed based on the fact that they can move things around. Where you have something like, I'll use Destiny for an example. Destiny was trying to produce at the same level, move some of their people over to create the new marathon game that they're doing, and at the same time create the same quality of product and keep people driven to push through. Where I think if they would just scale back how often they were dropping releases, they would have been better off. But I think the very last, whatever it was called, DLC that they had that came out that's supposed to be the final one for this go round of Destiny, to complete the storyline. I think that one did okay, but the two previous didn't do well.
Yeah.
And I'm like, if you had just been like, okay, we're going to do twice a year, guys, and it might be 6 months apart, or we might have to take a little bit longer on that, but we're going to try to give you a quality product. I think people have been better about it. But I think Destiny screwed themselves too. I think Bungie screwed themselves by going, hey, we're going to create Destiny. That's going to be a 10-year project. And then 2 years in, they create Destiny 2.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Right. And then
I feel
they
like
went,
that did hurt them. You're right.
yeah. And then they went, okay, none of your character moves over. So then you start over and you play the game. And then it's like, okay, awesome. And then it was like 3 years later, they went, okay, we're no longer going to call this Destiny 2. We're just going to call it Destiny. And then whatever the Giver of Light or whatever the hell the subtitle they gave the game.
Yeah, they just started subtitling them.
Yeah, they subtitled the game. And then they did all the stuff that went along with it, which is fine. But I think they kind of screwed themselves because I think they'd been better off to go, okay, Destiny 1's available to you. Destiny 2's available to you. We're going to create a Destiny 3. And that's going to be our 10-year project total. And then we're going to, take some time off and create a Destiny, give you that amount of time that's in there.
They should have just made it sequels, because when the whole Destiny 2 thing and not letting your character, it feels like a totally different game and it draws you out of playing.
Especially when our light now is like, if you log in for the very first time, never played the game before, go into Destiny 2, your light level's like 1,500 or 1,600. It's like some stupid number. And you're like, okay, everybody that played this game on day one started at 0.
Yeah, but I've just done the caught up mechanic by loading up for the first time.
Yeah, it's just, but but it goes back to what we said originally when Destiny was created, which is in that particular case, they were owned by Activision Blizzard. They literally had the best MMORPG objectively when it comes to numbers, the most successful on the market ever, available to them to be able to pick their brain and go, what do we need to do?
Yeah.
Our products are going to be a little bit different, but what do we need to do? And create it to where it would transfer over the consoles, do everything they wanted to do. And I don't feel they ever learned anything from that in that first go on Destiny 1, we'll call it. And then they created Destiny 2, and it was just like, okay. Because there was and they repaired some of the problems that those of us that played the original Destiny had, which is very grindy as fuck. You created a $60 game, and every one of your expansions felt like they were $60.
Yeah.
I think it was Destiny 1. By the time, if you played all the expansions based on the amount, it was like $180 or $200 and something that you would have spent total on that game.
Yeah.
If you'd bought no cosmetics or anything in between, just the expansions of the game. By the time Destiny 2 came out. And then you go, and you don't get a new character. You get a brand new character. None of your shit transfers over that you created. Nothing. No world catastrophic event created to put your light back down to 0. Nothing. It was just...
You're a new dude. Get out there.
Yeah.
And that is what scares Blizzard about making WoW 2, is that get rid of all your character stuff. That's a big no-no.
Yes.
I think you can do it, but you got to do it the right way. And I think we've discussed this before with the fact that Baldur's Gate 3 is a good example of this, is 200 years in the future or whatever you're going to do in that respect.
But the problem is a lot of the WoW players, and I say this knowing a WoW player who has played since the start and has been playing this whole time and still plays, has already said that she would be 100% out of it if they were like, no, none of your stuff carries over because of how much time. And again, it's one of those like sunk cost fallacy things. Because of how much time she's put into the other characters, especially her main, and things like, you know, mounts that she's acquired and all of that, to not get any of that to move over, she's like, nah, I'm not doing it. I don't care what the storyline is.
I think the difference you'd run into too, though, is like with Destiny went away.
Yeah.
There was no Destiny 1 anymore. I think you would still have your base work, your World of Warcraft. You'd still have your classic. You'd still have up to that point retail, right? The highest part of it. It would just all become one thing, essentially. Classic would all become it. And then your retail would become 2.
Yeah.
And then you'd have a choice. You can still continue to play the old game that we created that you love, blah, 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 that ended and did all it. And re-roll a character if you want to and do all the hours and everything that you needed into it, where Destiny players didn't get that option.
Yeah. Also, I did have a wild idea for if WoW ever tried to do something like that, do it as a, like in WoW 2, whatever it would be, whenever you make your new character, they've always talked about player housing in World of Warcraft, but they've never made it work a specific way. They did kind of do it with the garrisons so that they have the technology. They have the technology to do that, but what they could do is that give every character what is called a homestead. That is where all of your collectibles are. You have a little farm in which you have your whole list of mounts, and you can have 5 that you can have actually set out so that you can do that. And you could take 1 of your mounts from the previous game and use it in the new one, but you're only allowed to take 1 out at a time so that you can't have like all of them on your character.
You could almost do like a legacy thing family-wise, right?
So like or collectibles in your house to show off all of your stuff that you have collected from the last game, but it's not impertinent to the new game. You still have it there. It's still to show off. It's still part of your collections, all your outfits, all your toys, your mounts, things like that, but it's not
heirloom.
Yeah, they're all heirlooms in your player housing. And people can come visit and they can see what kind of cool stuff you have, things like that. But it removes it from the new game, but lets you keep it in the new game.
That'd be a lot of work though, because then you'd have to code in every single mount and player pet and toy from the original over
as
to
if
the new.
They're not using the same engine.
Well, I don't disagree with you. I'm just saying it seems like a lot of extraneous work to then have to add new stuff on top of.
I would be interested
to see. They do that all the time with every expansion. Hell, but when they redid flying was absolutely incredible.
If you revamp the game, and you can use the same engine, but you got to use an update version of your engine because I realize the fact that every time there was an update in retail and everything else, they're upgrading the graphics and things as well along with it. But there's still, this goes back to the spaghetti code thing. There's still a base code that's there that they're trying to build upon and create versus building from scratch. And as Grif said, if you're building from scratch, you're going to have to figure out a way to code that back in. But if they're trying to just improve the graphics and create a 2, I would have a problem with that. Like I don't play the game like y'all do, but I'd have an issue with that.
We don't anymore.
That's fair. Like you did. But it's one of those where I'd want the graphic level to be closer to what we're seeing nowadays with modern games instead of having that old game feel.
I don't know if they want to do that. Cause
I don't think they're going to go realistic.
This graphic simple is so that even potatoes can run it, because most people that play it aren't gamers like you would think of, like us, where we're invested in a bunch of different games. It's like this is the only thing they play. So they're little potatoes that they pre-buy and need to be able to run it. That's why Blizzard hasn't really done a massive push to upgrade the graphics in that game. I mean, they're a lot different, but they're not photorealistic, and I don't think they ever will be.
Just to give Blizzard they don't have a lot of spaghetti in their code. They have some spaghetti, but what Blizzard does is that every time they do expansions or updates, they remove the spaghetti and kind of restructure it each time. That's why they can't just go backwards to the base code, is because all that stuff is gone. That's why they couldn't just remake Classic. They had to go back to YouTube videos and old forums and all sorts of old stuff to figure out what anything was, because it was all erased. And whenever they do that, they just erase it and kind of keep going. Where games like League that has true spaghetti code, they're still using coding from 2011, 2009, 2010. Like some of their spells are based on the minions. Like they're invisible minions stacked on top of each other.
That's That's probably something they should look into fixing.
Do you know, or you know Jace, Grif, the one?
Yeah, I like Jace.
You know his little tether beam where you can run through that makes him go fast.
Yeah.
It's invisible minions.
I didn't know that.
It's 2 minions on each side and lots of invisible minions in the middle that make the gate so that you could go through it. That game is spaghetti coded because they don't ever update or remove old shit, and it conflicts so badly. You never have an idea of what the hell's gonna happen. But with Blizzard, they kind of take their time to smooth the spaghetti. You got these nice strings that they could kind of keep updating and keep cleaning so that the game keeps running well.
They try to not let it get it all tangled up.
Yes.
I think this was an unintentional, which is great, the best one, but an unintentional segue into one of the other articles, because you're talking about how games improve and things like that, and the live service model. Overwatch 2 is testing the return of 6v6. They got rid of the first Overwatch, which was 6v6, because Overwatch 2 was going to have a single player, and it was 5v5, and that was supposed to be the new best thing. But they got rid of the single player, and 5v5 is not what everybody wanted. 6v6
that was another one of those preemptive sequels.
No, that was also one of those things of like they got rid of the 6v6 to get rid of the 2-tank meta thing because they were being kind of lazy on just trying to find other ways to fix it, I guess. But
yeah,
does it bother anybody else that this still says Overwatch 2? There's no Overwatch 1 anymore.
Yeah,
it's gone.
I don't disagree with you, but I think it's to differentiate that there was previously a base Overwatch. I guess that's the main.
I mean, just call it Overwatch, the new class or some shit, you know? Like,
it's Overwatch. It's Overwatch. Just Overwatch.
I'm just incredibly irritated with Blizzard for the whole handling of Overwatch. Like, the fact that you were like, all right, you bought Overwatch 1, but now we're completely closing it down because Overwatch 2 is free to play, but no 6v6 because nobody wanted that. 5v5 is it, and everybody's like,
to be fair, because of this
is a Microsoft getting their hands into this one and saying, "Hey guys, we can see."
No, because this maybe, but it's been a long time coming, and let's remember with the book that came out that it was Jeff Kaplan's thought process that put Overwatch into this situation. If the book is to be taken, like, Overwatch 2 was pushed out too early, and they should have been two separate entities. But Overwatch 2 completely died, and nothing changed. And now Overwatch 2 is just going to be Overwatch 1 with no difference. And when they add,
it was announced that way too. It was announced that you would be getting rid of Overwatch 1 when they did the original announcement for it.
But
now, what is Overwatch 2 going to be?
Yeah, they announced they were getting rid of Overwatch 1 because everybody's new focus was supposed to be that it had a single player side.
It was supposed to be PvE.
Yeah.
A whole bunch of extra things to it. And then Overwatch 2 is literally nothing but a 5v5 version of Overwatch 1 of the original.
They got
with maybe a little bit of upped graphics, and that's it. And a restructure of the microtransactions.
I'm so salty. Yeah, they completely obliterated the store
If
stuff.
they do the 6v6, are you willing to explore going back to it just to see if it's got a similar feel?
It's
still free to play.
It's free to play, and that's fine. I don't like the season stuff. I don't like how they try to like hook you in with the FOMO for the store. You can't earn like coins and be like, I'm gonna buy this skin. You'd be like, I have to keep playing until it shows up in the store. And I'm just burnt over the fact that they were like, yeah, the reason we're getting rid of Overwatch 1 is because Overwatch 2 is going to have a solo mode. Never mind, we threw that in the trash. Like, I just don't.
That's not profitable, Grif. That's not going to make the CEOs and shareholders money. That's single player. No one plays single player anymore, Grif.
You could have still sold skins and all of that for single
like
player. There was plenty of options.
Switch, where they're like, yeah, we're going to have a single player. It's going to be amazing.
Yeah, but the guy who did that is now gone.
The guy that scrapped it, yes.
Yes, the guy who was supposed to do that is no longer there.
Mm-hmm.
Like playing over, like if you, which a lot of us older folks have to try to move on from the way modern games are monetized. As a base with Overwatch, it's a fun game to play. That's it. You don't have to buy anything. You don't have to pay for anything. You could just play the game if you enjoy hero shooters, because it is probably one of the best hero shooters out.
I mean, I don't disagree with the base of it. At its core, it is fun. I just don't like a lot of the extra stuff.
You don't have to do any of the extra stuff. Like, if
I literally
forced
don't have to. I don't have to play the game at all.
Well, I know that, but I'm just saying, if you don't like to play the game because the gameplay is bad, that's one thing.
I also got
to
real
take a stance
tired
on...
because we got to the point where there are enough champions that power creep happened. I don't like that every single new champion that comes out is absolutely going to face roll you for the first 2 months that it's out. It's just not fun.
Well, that's why bans need to happen. That right there is why bans happen, folks.
The problem with giving the option to ban is then all of the little snowflakes that love the new character because it is so strong quit out of the match the second it gets banned.
That's fine. That's why you ban preemptively. Each team gets 5 bans.
But then you're
I don't know
stuck
if
in
there's
this constant
champions.
like lobby shuffling where you're trying to get a lobby that doesn't have 2 or 3 people quit because the new guy got banned out.
Then you go to the way League does it. You have free pick, which is you pick whatever. Then you have the unranked mode, which is everybody has draft, and you have ranked, which is the same thing, bans and draft. Like, you could do a complete free style, which they already have. Remember, you can pick as many heroes as you want anytime, like whatever comp, 6 tracers, whatever the hell. It's pick whatever the hell you want. You want to play 6 of the OP champs, go for it, whatever. But then you have a style, which I don't know how many heroes they have now, but it's still probably not enough to ban enough and still have plenty to play. It'd be ban 12, play 12, that's 24, which I think is like all the heroes in Overwatch.
If they had a better handle on how
30.
to balance things, I would consider it more seriously, but I just don't like getting face rolled by the new guy for 2 months solid because they can't figure out how to balance and they got to make him look super appealing to sell battle passes and stuff like that.
It doesn't help that they cut back on their staff recently.
Yeah, I mean, that too.
This goes back to the argument we had earlier.
Any hero style game, any MOBA, anything with any sort of power in it will always have power creep. From everything from Hero to League to Overwatch to WoW to every single thing ever released. It will always have power creep in it.
Yes.
The new hero in League is so fucking broken right out of the gate. The power creep, or the mobility creep, sorry. The mobility creep in that one is just nuts. We used to make a joke that because some of the heroes have like a dash in their kit, like a dash in every ability in their kit. This one does. This one has a dash on every single ability, and ranged attacks and sustain. It's like, okay, what else could you give them? Hard CC? Yeah, it's got that too. Okay, so this motherfucker just run into 5 people and kill them all.
Yes.
Cool, because that's power creep.
Yes. I've got to outdo the last one, you know. And it's
an inevitability of competitive games.
Has turned me off of where we're at in gaming and makes me wish for the old school days of Halo and stuff, is that there are like the hero shooters and things like that. Everybody's got all of these new cool abilities that make them unique and special, and that's why you want to play them. But the downside is that leads into this power dynamic where it's like, all right, these 6 are buffed right now. These 6 are broken. So if you really liked the broken playstyle over there, well, they broke it, so you can't play that character anymore. Versus something like Halo where it's like, all right, do you know where the shotgun is on this map? Because if so, I'm going to destroy.
All I'm saying
it just made it feel more level back then.
If you actually felt that way, you'd play Halo 3 a lot more, because the Master Chief Collection has a small community that still plays it, that you are more than welcome to go back and play if that's your PvP.
Should. I've been thinking about it a lot.
If that's your PvP,
especially
you got
this
it.
week, I'm like, I really just want to like sit down, chill out, and throw down in some Halo.
I know how competitive you are. You're a bit rusty.
Right now on my other PC, I've got the, because it's free on Game Pass, I've got the new Call of Duty playing like in the background.
was doing that too. He was playing it with a friend because he's got Game Pass, and he's like, I just wanted to play a shooter. Like,
yeah,
I guess
we're
all at that old age where we're like, oh, I miss my glory days. Let me go back.
My glory days are still in. I'm still in my glory days. Damn it! My arm gets a little like sore if I play too long without practice. But I need to get back to like multiple days a week, getting back to the shooter, because I have highs, but then those highs come down pretty fast because I'm not as de-rusted as I used to be.
derusted.
Yeah.
Got to spray some of that derusting spray.
Yeah, that's
on
right.
there,
That'll
Get
be
that
my new name.
WD-40 out there. Spray them
Yeah,
down.
the derust, derusting.
Oh my god. Well, in the genre of hero shooters, as we talked about before, Concord had been pulled off of the market from Sony as one of the worst game releases ever in the history of gaming. They pulled it back in order to be able to work on it more and try to get it back out there. They were dissatisfied with the product that they'd put out for people, wanted feedback as much as they could, and then Sony went, we're going to shut you down, Firewalk Studios. We are completely done.
Safer that way.
It is completely done. They also, along with that, closed the mobile developer that they own, Neon Koi, as well. And my favorite part of this is Sony was like, we're still going to be working on mobile games, but we need them at the same pedigree that we're used to as Sony. And it's like, really?
With that.
It's a mobile game, dude. I don't know what you're gonna do. Like, and I hate to hate on mobile games. I really do. But it's like, if you're not a puzzle game of some sort or some type of word game of some sort, I don't understand the love of playing a game that feels like it should be on a console or a PC. I just don't.
I mean, I play Marvel Snap on my phone here and there, but
even then, it's like a card style game, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's just a little card game. But they also do have a version on Steam that I've loaded up every once in a while.
Is it transferable so you can like work like cloud save between the two?
Yeah. That's like nice. my account goes back and forth between the two.
See, that's nice and convenient. I get that. I understand.
Hearthstone does that too. Like, it's good to have small games like that where you could take your main game and walk somewhere else with it on your phone.
Mm-hmm. Like, I don't mind that, but trying to play a shooter on a freaking phone or
I don't get how people do that kind of stuff. I know like PUBG does it and
Fortnite had it. I don't think they've been back since they got kicked off of the two phone companies or two main iOS or OSs.
Yeah.
In general, but especially since they sued them, so I don't see that being a thing right now. But
well, I mean, hope the developers for this game land somewhere nice, but I'm not entirely surprised this happened. Like,
no.
Sony was like, chase this trend, 8 years in the making. Oh no, it didn't do well, even though we didn't really, do any publicity or try to make it do well. That's okay. Just throw it in the trash.
Well, even then, the Marvel Rivals game has done better than they have, and that's saying something. Yeah.
Oh, gross.
Yep.
Well, that's sad. Not surprising, but sad. Although it does feel like we're to a point, again, this is where we're at in games, where everything's disposable. Sony's like, oh, this game was garbage on launch. Oh, well, we'll throw it away. And throw away the developers, because everything's disposable. We'll get another one. Yay!
I mean, it's cheaper that way. You've already lost the money. Why would you keep paying? Why would you invest more money with already lost money and no hope? From a business standpoint, why?
I mean, I don't entirely disagree with you. I kind of wonder, like, what the thought process was on a lot of that along the way. 8 years in development is a long time, especially when it's something that you're
toxic
not doing
positivity,
a lot of,
as we read the
yeah,
last
I mean,
time.
that's definitely part of it, but why did it not get advertised and stuff? Like, I just don't remember seeing a big push for it at any point.
I saw, like, it showed up, I want to say, at Game Awards. It had a little video for it, and I think I saw it again in June. And then it was released like 2 weeks after that or the same week.
Yeah, but there's like no hype about it at all.
No, but like you said, it was very generic characters. There wasn't a whole lot to it. The staff for Firewalk, the creators of Firewalk itself, are veterans in the industry too. They were both at Bungie and Activision, and it makes me wonder. It's like, what part of that were you in? Like, obviously, one was working with Destiny. And then
Destiny
the other
and Overwatch, I would assume.
Were you working with Overwatch? Like, what was the other one?
So, I don't know. That's sad. So.
Yep.
It is sad, but it's a story well told in the industry these days.
And I mean, a lot of games fail, and some of the people some of the developers can claw back into standing, but some of them, I don't know. Kind of like, I mean, this kind of leads into one of the other ones. The day before that, you remember that game that absolutely spectacularly failed and Valve refunded everybody that purchased it?
Right.
Yeah, they scrapped it and also announced another game.
In the same note.
Yeah, they're like, and this is dead, but that's okay because we're doing another thing. Oh, are you now? Is the new one gonna be better?
This is exactly what many of you have been asking for. You mean the game that we actually paid for and wanted? Like,
well, you got to understand, it was the day before, or the day before they were announcing a new Kickstarter for a new game, and then canceled that new Kickstarter and announced a third one.
Yeah. You just keep announcing them, and eventually something's gonna be great, right?
I think I'd change the name of my studio at this point, is what I would do. Yeah. Go in hiding for a little while.
I mean, that's what I would do, but nah, they're like, let's just keep plugging at it. We're gonna get there.
See, I've been keeping my eyes on Steam for games and things like that, because you got people like this who are gonna like, do me a Kickstarter, give me all your money, and then maybe I'll think about giving you a game later. Then you have studios that I have been finding on Steam that are like, here's my game. I've been working on this for a while. Here, try it out, test it for me for free. Tell me what you think about it. Then I'm going to put it on sale and then you can buy it. Like, thanks for letting me test out your game and seeing what you actually have so that I could buy it if I want to. Instead of, I'll give you money in hopes that you eventually get me something.
Here's the thing. If it hadn't been for the fact that it's the Fantastic company, whatever they're like, I guess that's how you pronounce it. It's either Funtastic or Fantastic. I don't really know how to pronounce it.
It's
Fantastic.
Fantastic. So with them, their new game that they have announced is an action horror prop hunt game. Like, that's right up our alleys. We love prop hunt. Like, all of it, everything else. If it hadn't been for the fact they're the ones that announced it, we'd be like, oh, here you go. That's awesome. It's a great idea.
Somebody in the comments said that they've already made a game called Prop Night, and they never finished working on that either. Is that the same company, or are they just saying that there's a game called Prop Night?
I think it's a different company, but I know Prop Night is definitely a game.
Yeah, Prop Night is a game on Steam, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I'm looking at it now.
I can't open my Steam because I think the window will open
is. It was made by Fantastic.
100% is it? Yep, sure is.
Okay, today I learned. Thanks. Apparently that one's not. What's the reviews like on that?
Available on the Steam store.
Mixed, but it's probably a lot of mixed now because it was removed from Steam.
Oh, was it?
Yep.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well.
A decent game, optimized with friends, but servers are down.
Yeah.
It was shut down.
So they scrapped that too. So if you give this company money, please be aware that you may only play that game for like a few months before they scrap the servers.
And this is where we hope that the European Union pushes through the whole, if you sell somebody a digital version of the game, they now have rights to be able to own the game and you can't take it off the...
Unless they state otherwise, which Phasmo just recently did. They have they changed their end user license agreement, which means you do not own Phasmophobia.
Yeah,
you are just renting it from them. And they stated right there, you do not own this game. You are just licensing it from us. We have the rights to...
I feel like if you bought it before they changed that, you should get to be like, nah, but you didn't say that to start with, so...
I should be like, nah, I want a refund. Thank you very much. If you're not going to allow me to own this game like I was told I could at the beginning of this process, then... so man, I hate when they do that shit.
At the moment anyway, so...
When you look at some of some of these actual reviews on here, like, it's off the market, right? But some of the reviews are very recent.
Are they
like
negative?
very, very recent that are on there? Yeah. And it's like, okay. It's like, this game is dead. That one was written on October the 17th.
Well, yeah, that game is dead.
Maybe they I mean, maybe they've owned it for a while, but hadn't, reviewed it or played it until recently.
Maybe.
I mean, could be like somebody that we know that has a bunch of games in their library because they picked them up on sale and haven't ever installed or played them, but I wouldn't know anybody who does anything like that.
I feel very attacked by
that
your
was
comment right
oddly
now.
specific.
Yeah. Feel very attacked right now.
At least you know now you're not alone because people are playing this for the first time, which means it's been in their library.
I think we saw an article. It's like 70-something% of people have like 100 games in their library they never touched.
I do not have that many. I like
these are rookie numbers. 100. Come on, man.
Yeah,
you gotta beef those numbers up some.
Yeah, no, right. You gotta own a few thousand games that you've never touched.
I'm only at like.
Hey, well, you better start playing them because you can't take them with you, says Steam.
Yeah, evidently. One person had 139 hours in the game and said so disappointed that the devs gave up on this game after so many played hours. Challenges completed and fun new updates and made the game something to come back to daily. I hope to see it come back someday.
Nope.
So I guess they're just making a new version of Prom Night, and just so they can tank it. This game came out in December the 1st, 2021. That was its official release date.
It's not even that old then. They scrapped it super fast. Okay, so I wasn't very far off when I was like, don't expect to play it for more than a couple of months.
Wow. I can't believe that though, man. Like that game is 3 years old basically. It'd be 3-year-old this year. Already tanked, done. Decent reviews basically up until the point that they decided to stop doing anything with it. But at the same time they're like, oh, and we're going to release a new prop hunt style game because people are asking for it. It literally says that in the article.
People are asking for you to go back to your other one that they'd already paid for, but you closed it. They're not asking you to make a new prop hunt every 3 minutes. They're asking you to support the product you already made.
You know why you ran out of money trying to create your other game? It might be because of the fact that one game you did develop, you weren't promoting it enough. We'll be honest with that one. And secondly, the fact that it's like you still could have been selling, even if you sell 5 games a week. You know what I mean? That's extra money in your pocket to put towards your other game.
They just didn't want to worry about it at all. These people definitely seem like a give me your money so I can run off, make the next thing kind of deal.
But the video of it looks great. Somebody look it up. Like if you're listening to this right now, look up prop night and see how mad you are that this game is no longer available and you didn't know it existed until right now, till we had this conversation. Because it looked really good. Like that it had great potential to be good if it was continued to be worked on properly.
Properly being the key word.
Yeah,
that would be the key.
I want the game. I'm not gonna lie. Like just for us to have it to be able to play.
That is pretty much part of our wheelhouse is prop hunt type games. So.
Well, the one prop hunt game that we do inside of
Gary's mod.
Well, yes and no. We played Midnight Ghost Hunt, which is also a prop hunt game.
Yes, that is.
That's true. That is true. That's true.
That's a PvP.
That one is fun. That one is fun.
We'll talk about that. We played it. We'll talk about it.
We talked about it. Yeah, we played it this week.
All right. Let's see the last.
What's the last article that we've got here, and then we can talk about what we've been doing.
It's the Nintendo online thing. As soon as it opened up, things were coming out from it. It is an MMO style game thing. It's a blocky Minecraft world that you've got to build with other players. I think it's kind of just a placeholder for what they were really working on behind the scenes, because Nintendo knows just as well as everybody else that there's no hiding these things behind NDAs or things like that, because people are always going to break them. They're going to get in trouble, but they're going to break them anyway. But it's an MMO, so they're definitely testing their network, their infrastructure, to see if they can handle this kind of amount of players. And I mean, I think it was 10,000 people that were invited.
10,000, up to 10,000.
And that's like nothing. If whatever they release, if they like announce a big MMO and then do that, like 10,000 is going to be nothing from what Nintendo is going to get swarmed with, because everybody with a Switch is going to try it.
Well, yeah, but this was just the test, like the super early placeholder test.
Yeah, there's not much to it. It's kind of like a really bland block type MMO where you build stuff, you do quests and things like that. There's not really. It's almost like a Me World style.
I'm gonna guess it's gonna get a complete Nintendo skinning, and it will be things like, oh, this is the Mushroom Kingdom area, and this is the Donkey Kong jungle biome and things like that.
Like an MMO version of Disneyland, Nintendo Land.
I mean, kind of, yeah. I imagine it'll get skinned kind of like that.
get a house in all the different in a different zone. I want to live in Nintendo World or Mario World. So you can,
Hyrule.
yeah, get a house in Hyrule or
Pokemon,
get
there'll
a
probably
house.
be a
The
Pokemon area.
expansion to send you into space, so you can add Metroid into that.
Yes, live on the moon. But we'll see. Like, I mean, it's early on. There's not a lot to it right now, but it's definitely an MMO, and it seems like they were trying to test out their infrastructure more than testing out like the game itself.
Yeah, which
Because the game
makes sense.
I just, if that is the case, I just realized they're gonna put Yoshi Island into it.
Baki, you want to go live on Yoshi Island with us?
I'll live there.
I want to burn it down.
No.
I'll live there.
Okay. Oak's gonna live
I
there.
have no problems.
Kirby Island.
I'm gonna get like Bowser or something and just go over there and just cause destruction all the time.
But it's a super high level area, and you're just gonna get crushed every time you go over there.
It's a Nintendo game. You're not going to be able to do anything violent to anybody.
Well, that's true.
The worst
I
you're going to
try.
do is The worst you're going to be able to do is run into the wall. I hate this place.
Oh no!
Blue
I
shells
will
as
find
as they go by.
to be creative and cause some kind of disruption.
Yeah, I don't think that
there's
Nintendo's
gonna
let you.
you're come on.
Especially in
If
an
it was
MMO with children, they're not gonna let you do anything.
Hell no. The worst thing you're going to be able to do is run into a wall. Or inconveniently stand in a doorway that people can walk through you.
Fast forward 6 months later, we see on the internet a viral video of someone named Baka Pickle making young children cry.
Oh, good God. Please
like
no.
a game.
Nintendo would not let him last more than like a day or two before they ban him.
The second that I did anything like disruptive, they just be like, "Nope, gotta go
Ban.
away."
Yeah, they are savage.
They brick
They
your
have
console.
they have snipers in the network watching.
Too funny.
Well, that'll be
That was it.
interesting.
That was all those.
Yeah, so we
Yeah.
played some Midnight Ghost Hunt this week. They have made some interesting changes to that one though since the last time we played it. Like there's new some of the new ghost abilities and stuff like that I thought was kind of neat. Although one of the abilities was the corruption one for as the ghost, it's like telekinesis, but it doesn't float the object, but if somebody melees an object, it's supposed to hurt them. But I don't think anybody meleeed anything, and that makes me sad.
Well, there's
just
actual
melee in the
melee
game?
weapons you can get, and that is a build that some people go evidently.
It's
is the
also
melee
it also
build.
would count because you can walk up to an object and push E, which essentially pushes it over. It's supposed to trigger off that too, but you guys just came in blasting, so
Yeah, a lot of people.
I'm
I
not
noticed a
doing
lot of
that.
people forgot about that. I did too. For
I
a
did.
while
I
there.
didn't. I was like, flip. What's this flip? Because if it moves, it's not a person. But if it doesn't move, I mean, and then you're not having to waste time reloading and stuff. I'm like, I'm trying to do it the easy way.
But my little cross gun thing, like if it hits you, it immediately starts slowing you. So it's like, oh, okay.
Yeah. Well, I was like, damn, this one was not as useful as I had hoped it would have been with this specific group.
I loved it though. The first match, I had gone to be this like little creature that's on a shelf.
It was like a Yeti.
And then Grif and I were in the same room, and then I ended up dying because they chased me for a long time, and I was like, okay, everybody else staying alive. I had 3 of them chasing me right now, so if nobody else has found anybody, we're good to go. So I'm like moving around and just trying to move through the different stuff, and so I get over to her, and she's like, is anybody in the room? And I was like, no, not right now. Wait, somebody's coming in. And she's a Cupid. And it was the funniest damn thing to see this Cupid because she could sling like the arrows at people.
Yeah.
And
Is that what kept hitting me in the room?
Yes.
Yes. She was slinging
I did that like when Snitty was in a group too. I was a Cupid and popping off y'all at the circus place, whoever was on the other team.
Yeah,
and
you hit
someone
me with it a
finally
few
caught
times.
on and turned around and fucking shot me.
The downside of the Cupid doll too, though, is when you do your taunt so that you can get rid of some of your ecto buildup, so it makes them have a harder time finding you. Most of them just kind of like slightly vibrate if they move at all. The Cupid doll like does this every time, so it's like meow, meow, and I'm like, they're gonna see this moving.
Is that was the fucking meow?
Yeah, that was
Yes.
me. That was my taunt.
I kept hearing it, but I was like, and I kept shooting cat things, and I was like, I don't know what the hell this is.
No, that's her taunt. Mine's a crow, and hers is a freaking.
It's like a
Yeah, I
cat.
think you can change your taunt to anything.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Well,
Like,
I mean, you
was
have to
just like,
unlock them, but yes.
Yeah, you gotta unlock them, but you can pick your own
no,
taunt.
I just kept hearing a meow, and I was like, where's the fucking cat thing around here?
It was
Why is it?
Oak is a crow, I think. So at one point it was like, caw, meow, because we were in the same room.
Yeah, where she goes, "Are you the crow?" And I was like, "Yeah, that's me."
It was like, that's too close to be anybody else.
It was funny though. We had like, that was a good time with that one for sure.
That game can be so fun sometimes.
I think it was the third or fourth round. As soon as you guys spawned up, I started throwing my voice next to you, so it sounded like because I think it was.
I knew
Smitty,
what you were doing, and everybody's like, "Where?" And I'm like, "No, that's not really him." I mean, it is.
It was
isn't.
really me, but I was trying to talk. And like as soon as I see Smitty come out, he starts looking forward. Then I start talking to him on the side of him. He's like, Where is he? I'm like, I'm right next to you. Where? I don't see. Like, because whenever you do the throw your voice thing, you get a little blue box, and your voice comes from wherever the blue box is, and you can put it up on any wall, anywhere that you can see. Like, he was up on the rafters, and I put it on the wall next to the room that he was in. And I was talking to him like I was at the
you
door.
were sending it out to us, and Grif immediately let everybody in the group know that he's throwing his voice. He is not anywhere near his own. And it's like, but no.
Nobody listened. I was like, all right, cool.
I heard it.
Thanks for that. Okay. Now I know to not throw my voice all the time and pretend like I am near you.
It
was good stuff. It was good stuff.
Yeah.
I liked it. They had y'all were gone last weekend, and so there was 4 of us that played, and Bach and I were part of that group. And we ended up playing Lunch Lady.
That game, I just want to win one round of that game ever.
Well, what I figured out from once I got out of a room that I accidentally, she killed me in, but I couldn't go back out the door because she closed the door behind her.
Yeah.
Once I got out of that room, what I figured out was like, she can't hurt you again. So I was just wandering around, crawling around, going, all right, here's where she is, while everybody else searched for shit. So I used that person that person would always be a lookout. But Baka got downed, and he and I were all trying to find the key to the auditorium. But Baka got downed, and he decided that he was going to go into the auditorium, and he and I were next to each other, but he got through and I didn't.
Mm-hmm.
And so he's in the auditorium and down, and he's like, there's a med kit in here, because we'd used all the med kits in the other rooms that we could access. And I was like, oh, okay. Now we just got to find the auditorium game. Sentry was the only person that wasn't downed, and he's running around everywhere.
All right.
Trying to find it. And finally, we had to look on the internet for like a little cheat sheet of dots of possible spawn points. And he ended up finding it on like a toilet or something. Ugh. And but Bach is like, we're trying to find all the different stuff that was in there to get through it, because he had explained, because he played with y'all, he had explained that she gets crazier and stuff as you get more of these sheets, the test sheets and all that. And let me tell you, there are some really good designers of games out there, okay? And character design, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
Whoever created the lunch lady herself, when she knocks you down and you see her face straight on, has a very gross imagination and did a really good job of creating this.
She is kind of gross.
She is kind of gross.
Yeah, I look
she also
forward.
does the gentlest of bonks.
Yeah, the pan hitting you is just such an unsatisfying sound, knowing that she one taps you, because it's like ding. Like, you hit me harder than that. Come on.
Yeah.
Hit me like you mean it, lady.
Remember the zigzag. We went
into the kitchen in the one that we were at, and like there was like a pod. It looked like a pod that was laying in the middle of the ground, and like guts laying everywhere that was there, and it was like glowing from the pod. And we're like, is she an alien? Like, I want to know the backstory. What's the lore on here?
Yeah, I kind of want to know what the lore is.
Some sort of mutant thing, demon mutant thing.
It would have to be. I would
go demon. I think demon.
Yeah. But that was fun too. We had a good time with that one.
Oh man.
We did that one and some party animals on that one. So
I finished before we left. Like Chicken and I went on vacation and have been gone for a little while. And basically after the last podcast, we had 2 days before our vacation and then we left. So I was like, I finished Silent Hill 2 and then we did the show and then I was focused on going on vacation, like getting everything ready for that. So I didn't hit that post-game funk and I was feeling pretty good about that. But then I hit it when I came back because, you know, I'm back in my own element. And I'm like, well, no, what am I going to play? And now I'm just sad. I'm like, but I'm done with Silent Hill. What am I going to play now? What am I going to do?
Play it again and get a different ending.
I thought about it. I need a little bit between that one because it is so heavy. Before I can go
heavy.
right back.
It's heavy for some folks.
If you immerse in it's heavy. I mean, that's what it's meant to be like. So
I run around with a stick beating up things from the other side.
I thought finally I had escaped the post-game funk thing, but nah, it's real. It's still happening.
Oh no, forever. If you ever play a good game and you put a lot of time, like if you put a lot of time into it continuously, the post-game funk will always hit you because you're looking forward to it, and then it's the over, and there's no more.
Yeah.
Yep.
I am looking forward to it because Chicken hasn't finished it, so I get to talk to him about it as he catches up with me.
I'm on a boss fight, so and I'm doing it only melee weapons, and I'm trying not to heal very often, so it's pretty difficult. It's fun though. Self-imposed challenges. Self-imposed. I was halfway through. I was like, man, I wonder how long I could go with just the melee weapon. Yeah, it's
halfway through. You are still in the early parts of the first act, sir.
Yeah, I know it's gonna be fun with the what's ironic. Okay, first of all, you have to fight Pyramid Head. Spoiler: he's a boss. Anyway. One of the because I like to break down the fights and whatnot. He has different phases for this fight. The first phase, he has this stupid little nudge where he just kind of nudges you, and it's got this he's got a huge hitbox on his arm when he does the nudge. So I have to that's the only thing that can hurt me a lot in first phase. His giant swing with his sword, all the rest of that stuff's not that big of a deal. But his light nudge with his arm is like 3 times the size. So you gotta back away quickly. And then as soon as he gets out of phase 1, he goes into phase 2, and his little nudge becomes a grab, and it's so easy to dodge. But first phase arm nudge is crazy hard. He just and he slaps the shit out of you.
He's deceptively strong, okay? That one arm, I mean, there's some muscle tone on it and whatnot, but it's really
and it's ironic. That's his non-sword dragging arm too.
Well, if he carried it with that hand, he wouldn't have to drag it because he's so strong on one side.
Right. He just
got his own challenges he's trying to do. His personal challenges to work up the other arm now.
The hit effects on him are so good though with the board. You can actually see James whenever he does his attack and he's in the back, you can see James swings batter style and hit him in the back and it doesn't do anything. He's like, boom, and you can kind of see James move a little bit from hitting him, and he does it again, and he's like, damn, it's like hitting a wall. It's like, yes, James, it is hitting a wall. Pyramid Head don't give a fuck. He's like, what are you doing? Stop. Go away. And he tries to backhand you with the big sword. And James is just swirling around like a little mosquito, slapping him with a stick.
I love that your telling of how you're playing the game is very tonally different from my telling of how I play that game.
It's because I don't get scared in games.
So it's just swarming around at me. I'm like, I'm dying. It's terrifying.
Oh, I've seen a lot worse in other games. You gotta, in order for me to be tense, you've got to create a situation in which it's difficult. Which this is more challenging than difficult or problem solving. Because it's just about there's not many mechanics to it. It's shoot gun, swing weapon, dodge. That's the entirety of the mechanics. That's it.
Sometimes
shoot weapon.
Sometimes I wish I was as good at games as you, and then sometimes I'm like, if I was as good at games as you are, it would ruin some games for me. So I'm kind of okay with where I'm at.
It's a curse too, so
I'm okay with where I'm at, knowing that you are in close proximity, so that if I really, really get stuck, I could just be like, can you come help me with this?
Yeah, I know. It is a curse sometimes.
Good enough. Good enough.
But part of that goes, I mean, Silent Hill in general has got that old school mentality of their bosses and stuff to where they have, what's your pattern? How do I solve the pattern? Because that's the puzzle in itself.
Exactly.
So, and I mean, old games used to be that way.
It's
There's a
easier for those
later-
old games too.
There's a later boss fight that I'm very interested because I don't know what the pattern was. I mean, like I kind of picked out a base pattern, but there was a more efficient way to do that fight, and I do not know what it was. I mean, I did it, but I wasted a lot of resources.
Yeah, I'm trying to get through this fight with as little healing things as possible because every so often, James will just take a hit out of nowhere. Like
I got the
it's
nudge.
like okay. Why, James? Like sometimes there are certain mechanics that feel old in the game still.
I mean, it is an older game that's been remade, so
Yeah. So well, it's also because they use the Unreal Engine, so sometimes things are a little wonky. It's a super easy engine to work, but sometimes things work a little outside of what they're supposed to work as. So, but that's just part of it. It doesn't happen all the time, but it does happen every so often.
Oh, good God. What did we play last night? With me and you and Baka.
Lethal Company.
Was it Lethal Company? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
My brain put that on Friday for some reason, and I was like, nah, that's not right.
Did you get your birthday hat?
No. Friday was Friday the 13th and Midnight Ghost Hunt.
Mm-hmm.
That's right.
And yesterday it was some Lethal Company because Cat picked.
Yeah.
We got-
Company's good still.
What? Right at a month and 20 something days left of being able to play
Yeah.
Friday the 13th.
And then it goes away until somebody
now.
makes a knockoff of it that we can still play. So sad. So sad.
I'm wondering how the like killer clowns from outer space and stuff like that is stacking up.
It's
versus-
pretty good. It's what Friday the 13th could have been.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of the systems, you play it, like I've watched people play, if you
Same.
play it and you're as experienced with Friday the 13th, you're like, wow, I
What's the
see
player
where they would
level
have
on
gone.
that? Like player
10.
10.
And yeah.
It's
We'd have to
3
make
versus
2 more
7.
friends.
It's
Oh.
3 versus 7.
All right, friends. If anybody wants to be our friend,
Here's an open application for our friendship circle.
Our Friday night friend games.
I'll send you the link on there. It's like, do you like this style of game? What kind of player are you?
Do you like party and deception games?
Uh,
You need TTT at the
are
very
you the
least.
person that's willing to sacrifice yourself for others? Are you the one that wants to sacrifice all your friends and let the bad guy win? Are you the one that just
Are you
throw the
okay with throwing a sibling in the fire?
Depends on my mood. Baka, I'm sorry. It was so worth it.
If you see a baby, do you want to hug the baby or shake the baby?
Don't
Let me
the
tell
baby.
you last night what happened in one of our Lethal Company rounds, by the way. We were using the inverse teleporter, which teleports you into the place, but you don't get to take anything, so it's just dark. I got teleported into the tunnels in the mines, which is always a great time anyway. And as I'm trying to figure out how to get out and whatnot, I heard a loot bug. And I was like, oh, yippee! Yay! I love them. I don't have anything for them. The loot bug came around the corner and I guess realized that I was a broke as a joke because I didn't have anything. Immediately aggroed and he's like, "Rrr," and right underneath him is the baby. And it starts crying and I was like, pick the baby up. I don't have any way to kill the loot bug. I'm gonna die. I died like tossing the baby so that I could try to stop it. Nah, I got mad and destroyed everybody else.
You can't undo the angry baby.
Oh my god!
No, I
think
just
it'd
got
be funny if
teleported
the baby
in
to the loot
and
bog.
stuck in an area. So
Yeah,
that was. Yeah, and then Red got teleported in on another round where the reactor thing is, and both doors were locked and couldn't get out.
I left him in there. I left him in there for a while because I could have teleported them back out, but I left him in there for a while.
I died like right out of the gate in that one. That's the one I got struck by lightning maybe or something. I don't know. I died right out of the gate in that one. So I'm watching Red in the room and Baka and Kat had come up and found him because Chicken's on the ship. Baka and Kat had come up to the outside of the door. Red's inside and is like watching this like frantic, oh my god, I'm stuck in here. I just wish I could tell him to teleport me out. And they're like out there yelling about why is he stuck in there and things like that. And then Chicken started sending a transmission, it puts a little bar up in the middle of the screen and types out one letter at a time. Everything stopped. And, like, all three of their characters, because I'm watching it in third person since I'm dead, turned towards the screen like they were reading it together. And it's like, Red is stuck. And, like, the immediate, "Are you serious?" from everybody in that room was... The comedy timing was perfect. It was the most hilarious thing that was unscripted that I wish I could have captured and, like, put on YouTube for everybody to laugh at, because it was hilarious. And then they went back to losing their minds about being stuck and how Chicken, you know, how obtuse is he? He obviously knows.
I was very obtuse.
It was
I was
so
hoping
funny.
they had a key to let him out, but no. They
But
just
watching it
stood there.
type out what, like, everybody's
Yeah.
just watching in silence and one letter at a time. R-E-D-I-S. They're like, seriously?
Well, I didn't know what the hell that was to begin with. I was like, what the hell's coming up on my screen? But by the way, we had a key. The issue was its cat used it on another door, and it unlocked to nowhere. Just a little empty room.
Yeah, I hate those. I hate those.
Somebody should have taken a damn walkie-talkie.
We
like,
teleported it.
Dude, you know, I don't take hardly anything in there with me because I die too often.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
he
how
died
I
every
died.
match.
It teleported me in on a ledge. Like, I was facing a wall, and so I turned around. I didn't even move. I just rotated my character, and the rotation, I fell off into the chasm immediately. I'm like...
That's the chance you take, I guess.
Yeah, no, because the lightning one, you and I both died because
Yeah.
you had the Easter egg. So when the lightning struck you, it exploded, and when I was near you, it killed me.
Things are dangerous, okay? Things are dangerous.
That's funny.
It was a good time, though. Oh, and if you're wondering why I'm not talking about Veilguard, I haven't bought it. So, I've heard it's middle of the road, which is... It's okay. It's what I've heard. So I'm just going to wait to pick it up for a while.
That has been the gist of what all the reviews. It's fine.
Yeah,
It's fine.
It's okay.
I would just like to point out that all the reviews for the last Saints Row were it's bad, it's not good at all, and she still bought it.
I bought it a year later on
She
sale.
bought it like a year and a half later
I
on
waited
sale.
for it to
That's because it was on Epic for a year too.
Yeah.
But I still waited it out and bought it on sale. I bought that game at half off a year after its launch. So
And this will be another one like that too.
yeah, I'll probably wait a while. I've heard the part of the it's okay is they went with really, really, really safe choices. Like, there's nothing about this game that's like, oh man, that's amazing. It's like, oh, yeah, it's not bad.
It's a lot of good stuff with mediocre writing.
Yeah.
Mediocre to bad writing. Like that's kind of the thing that I have seen everywhere is the mediocre to bad writing.
And that it's too handholdy if you've played previous iterations of the game. Like, your companions are literally like, hey, you must be stupid. Here's what this is. Look at this. It's a door. You grab the handle.
I would argue that's games in general nowadays.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of games have leaned into that, but I've heard that this one's a little more heavy-handed on it than it really needs to be.
My example that I've heard used a couple of times is that you show up to a dock at one point and your companion is like, "Hey, that's a dock. There's supposed to be boats here," and that's all they say. It's like,
and then Rook turns around and is like, "Do you think that I'm just dumb? Like I know exist in this world. I'm an adult. Of course I know what a dock is. What?"
And there's a lot of that stuff where the companions from behind you just come out with
Captain
unbelievably obvious stuff just to make sure to fill you in of what you're looking at.
Yeah,
like that is the main problem. It's like, or you're talking to somebody and they're visibly upset and they can convey that with their dialogue. Your companion from the back goes, "Oh, they look very upset," and it's like, God damn, I know. I can read context. But it does that a lot throughout the game.
They made it very safe so that any level of understanding you are at, they will make sure that you get what's happening because one of your companions is going to tell you.
Yes, so. That's kind of where the problems come into. Is they did a lot of safe stuff, and especially
they really didn't want another Mass Effect Andromeda on their hands, and I get that, but I feel like they leaned too hard into let's not make any dangerous choices.
And it's hard, like when a game like Baldur's Gate 3 came out last year, and that like raised the bar on RPG interactions, which you can't
I don't
compare.
disagree, but there's some bad lines in that game as well.
Well,
it's just the
Baldur's
rest of the
Gate?
game
Oh, yeah.
erases the bad lines. Is what
I
it
don't
is.
disagree.
Yeah, there's some cheesy ass bad lines in that game, but it's like people are gonna give that the benefit of the doubt because the rest of the game is so good.
Yeah, you'll give it more break.
Yeah, if you give an okay game and then you have the bad games, it's like it's not enough to rest. If you have a great game and you have the bad lines, there's
Well,
plenty.
they're not all bad lines. They have some cheesy lines, but it's like less than 10% of all of the lines in Baldur's Gate is bad. It's like 80% of all the lines in Dragon Age is.
I wouldn't say bad. I would say predictable.
About 4 hours of the game, and I would not say it's 80% or bad
I haven't played it, so I can't say it.
Yeah,
but I said,
from the little bit that I've seen, I would say it's not that it's bad. It's just that it's predictable. Like they just went really safe.
100% agree with that.
Yeah,
100% agree with that.
And that again, that means the game's probably okay. It's
yeah,
just it's not great.
The voice acting's very good from the parts of it I watched. And again, it goes back to you got good talent, you got an okay line. That person's got to deliver an okay line, but they're doing it the best way they can.
Yeah,
I've seen a lot of that before, where it's like, even in Silent Hill, there's some times where they kept some of the original dialogue, and so it is kind of stilted because it's so dated, but the delivery on it, the voice actors do the lifting, and it's great.
Mm-hmm.
But you can only lift so much with bad dialogue.
Yeah,
like you can deliver bad dialogue as good as you can, but it ain't gonna make it good dialogue.
I'm a good cook. You don't give me all the ingredients.
Yeah.
I don't think that it's necessarily that it's overloaded with bad dialogue. I just think that it's overloaded with very predictable, safe choices. Like when it's like going to the diner, and you're ordering the cheeseburger and fries because you know every diner's cheeseburger and fries are pretty much the same. So like you made the safe choice. You're not gonna be wowed, but you're probably not gonna be like super disappointed either.
Like in other Dragon Age games, you can't wait to hear your companions talk or the banter between. In this one, from what I've heard of this one, is you don't want your companions to talk. Just be quiet. I know exactly what's going on.
I'll be honest with you. I don't like, and it's part of its old school. I don't like that much banter with the people that.
I like it.
I love it. I have a mod for.
I'm a big fan of it
because they taught other games that makes
I don't mind it. I don't mind it if it has a good variety, but what happens a lot of times, especially in battles, is you hear the same shit over again. Like they'll kill.
No. We're not talking about that kind of banter. We're talking about like if you're just in the overworld and walking, and your characters just start talking to each other, something about the environment, their past, things like that. That kind of banter.
I love that.
Not reuse the same lines where they say the same
I hate
damn
that shit.
thing over and over again.
Yeah, you're in the middle of a battle and they're like, "Oh, that was easy. Oh, let me go over here and do this and blah blah blah." And it's like, and then they'll use sometimes. And I'm a pun guy. I'm a pun guy. Everybody knows I'm a pun. But for some reason, somebody goes nuts with the fucking puns in those games. And they'll turn around when you're playing that and you're in a battle and you hear the same pun every battle you're in, and it drives me insane.
If you haven't noticed this, I'm about to ruin BioWare games for you. They reuse the same lines across every one of their franchises.
Yes.
One less to worry about. If I have to hear that one more time, Garrus, Tally, like fucking Sebastian, Zevran, y'all, I know there's one less to worry about because you killed it. I've heard all of my BioWare characters say that line specifically. Like, they have 3 or 4 lines that transcend between Mass Effect and BioWare that your party companions say in combat. And it just... It's much. It's much. You know?
Yes.
And I will only ever mainly hear it in Garrus's voice because that's just my go-to where I've heard it the most because he's always in my party. But, oh my god. One less to worry about. Yeah, I know. Thanks. Can do
it's
the math.
like back in the Overlord games where you'd send your little minions to go somewhere, and all they would say is "Yes, Overlord, for you, Overlord." It's like, God, I just want
to. Yeah, but I love that one. I would say it over and over again. That one I loved.
God. Stop talking.
Did you know that this is for you, Overlord? But that's for them.
That's for them, Overlord.
My good friend Maldus and I, though.
The helmets are specifically for them.
Yes. My good friend Maldus and I would. That's sometimes if we hand each other something for like, hey, will you pass me the salt? It is in a regular conversation. I'll hand it over and go for you. woo, and hand it over because of that game. I love that game so much.
Oh man.
But I don't disagree. It was said a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot. Every time you
A
move
lot.
this motherfucker, you're like, oh my god, shut up.
It wasn't when you move them. It was when you went to grab
Game.
stuff.
Yeah,
Which was
yeah.
pretty much when you move them.
Baldur's Gate does that too. Your main character says like, well, if you're playing Dark Urge, you get some extra ones, but if you're playing the normal tab, it's like cursed to put my hands on everything. Is like every hour you've heard it 13 times. Like,
Yeah.
I
Is
just
that
want to
blood?
loot.
No,
Shut
no,
up.
no.
These boots have seen everything.
Hey,
Got a lot
shut
on
up,
my
Tav.
mind and in it. Like,
Shut up,
stop.
Tav. I don't want to hear it.
I know we've got a lot on our mind and
Quiet,
in it.
you.
Please stop
Put a-
saying that.
Put a silence on him. Put a silence on him.
It's funny. Anyway, anything else? Chicken's 10 minutes into the Lions game, so
Oh yeah.
I know.
Oh yeah, of course.
Like I'm wearing my shirt. Maybe we can win because I wore
We
it
better
last
win.
week while we were there, and they won. So
Can't wash it for an entire season. That's gonna be gross.
No. If we win the Super Bowl, that motherfucker's going in glass.
break in case of emergency, and just a little hammer next to it in case they start losing
Hell no.
again. You got to put it
Hell
back
no.
on.
I will find a way. I will find a way to get them to sign it too. Be like, sign this. We bought it for the Titans game, which you blew them out, and then went on to win the Super Bowl. This thing is golden. I don't care. I'm gonna put Super Bowl champs 24, 25 in this thing.
Oh, anyway. Sorry.
Anything else?
No, I'm ready to go.
Mhm.
Ready to go. We do appreciate everybody hanging out with us every other week at Infinite Respawn. Make sure that you hit that little sub button as well as the little bell for the notification for when one of these goes live. Also, make sure you go to twitch.tv/EliteChicken313. Chicken? We're about a month out, about a month, maybe less.
I don't know. It's the future, so we don't know.
The future, we'll make it work. The temperature's got to get lower for you not to be able to work.
Yeah.
I know.
It was 90 degrees last
Let's
weekend.
say, yeah, let's say
80
it's still
degrees last
hot.
weekend here. Yes. Also, make sure that you go to twitch.tv/MDB Oak Tree. As always, we had a great time today, and make sure that you hit all the stuff that I told you to. For Infinite Respawn, I'm Oak Tree.
I'm Grif.
I'm chicken.
I'm Bucket.
Bye.
See ya.
Bye.
Please hang up and try again.